Civil unrest continues to sweep across the state and country in response to the death of George Floyd. All this happening during an unprecedented pandemic, state leaders say is disproportionately affecting people of color nationwide.
What we are unfortunately hearing from our constituents is that they don't feel like they get the opportunity to live that American dream if you are Black, if you are Hispanic, if you are Asian, because there are inequities in our policy, inequities that we as legislators have the ability to fix if only we had the will to do so.
A proposed resolution at the state level would declare racism a public health crisis. It would echo a similar policy introduced in Cleveland.
I'm asking the governor to create a working group that will begin to look at the policies and practices of the state through a racial equity lens.
State representatives call it a broad resolution that would look at the role state government had in creating the problem and work to find solutions that could one day turn into policy.
First year, Cleveland which is our infant mortality hub in Cuyahoga County. That infant mortality hub became a reality through the work of the legislature back in 2015.
Citing the American Public Health Association, the resolution states racism is a driving force of social determinants of health, resulting in inequalities, including housing, education, and employment.
What a wonderful story that it could be if we are seen as the leader to righting the wrongs.
It matters in the sense that we want you to be able to live, work, and play, start a family, start a business, and be able to live successfully here without any additional hurdles or barriers.
In Cleveland.
Live on your side, investigator Sarah Buttison spoke with the president of the association today. Sarah, why take action now?
Rob, Ian Friedman, who's a defense attorney in town, and his colleagues have long supported the Black community and protests, but he says now is the time to step off the sidelines and take action.
Ian Friedman watched as Cleveland erupted in violence Saturday.
That if we stop, if we allow ourselves to take one step back, we're just repeating history.
The criminal defense attorney is the president of the Cleveland Metropolitan Bar Association, a nonprofit made up of more than 5,500 attorneys.
We've made clear there are no longer any sidelines. There is no longer any middle ground. Either you're an ally or you're part of the problem.
So the association has formed a task force to look at ways to dismantle what they call institutionalized racism. One priority, police union contracts. Agreements that can make it impossible to hold officers accountable. Look, our 5 on Your Side investigation found 2/3 of officers who appealed being fired were rehired. Like Michael Amiot, the Euclid officer caught on camera punching Richard Hubbard during a traffic stop.
We know that they were dead wrong and still nothing happens. People lose faith in the process. They lose faith in the system.
Kareem Hinton is the co-founder of Black Lives Matter Cleveland. He says seeing the Bar Association commit to action has given him something he needs.
It's hope.
Black Lives Matter!
That's what it represents.
I can't breathe!
It represents hope.
Friedman says the Bar Association will also work to educate white people about how they can help, reform community police relations, and eliminate certain legal protections that can literally allow police to get away with murder.
The goal here is to build as much momentum as is necessary so that either you get on this bus or you get run over by it.
And the first thing on their agenda is the last thing you'd expect. They'll be holding a video conference next week with the Cleveland Police Union's attorney to learn more about their contract, the same contract that's at the center of what some say are many of the policing problems in our city.
of our people is getting killed.
As the push for police reform in this country continues, a new movement is picking up momentum in one Northeast Ohio city to hit the pause button on high-speed pursuits. A pair of East Cleveland council members want tougher laws on the books to crack down on officers from other cities who bring warrantless chases to town.
News 5's Mike Brookbank breaks down the legislation for us.
Is the risk
chasing people at high speeds
worth the reward?
A stolen car.
It's the question both residents
is really worth chasing through the city at 90 miles an hour
and some leaders in East Cleveland are asking.
We're going to do something about that
when it comes to police chases in their community.
It's time for a change.
City Council members Juanita Gowdy and Nathaniel Martin
warrantless pursuits,
crafting a new ordinance that would crack down on officers from neighboring communities.
Cleveland Heights, Euclid, all of them,
as well as their own, who are involved in warrantless chases that turn deadly.
They're going to have to start being held accountable.
The pair tells me the reform to stop pursuits for petty crimes is overdue.
Melissa Williams will not come back. Timothy Russell will not come back. Tamia Chapman would not be back.
The proposed changes come on the heels of the tragic death of Tamia Chapman.
These warrantless chases, they're taking lives that are unnecessary.
The 13-year-old was walking with her siblings in East Cleveland when police say she was hit by suspected carjackers trying to outrun officers from Cleveland.
We got to get to this part where we get some calm and get to the table and start to negotiate these things so we have positive change.
Both Gowdy and Martin tell me they have the support from the full council to get this legislation into law.
So that we can cut down on people being killed by reckless pursuits.
They will present it at their next meeting in 2 weeks.
The best way that we can honor all these victims is to educate ourselves finally on the process, educate ourselves on policy, educate ourselves on legislation.
Reporting in East Cleveland, Mike Brookbank.
And we've seen children and young adults across the country marching, protesting, and standing up for social injustices.
Begs the question, what is it about Generation Z that's making them speak out more than their much older counterparts? News 5's Amanda Van Allen explains.
Hands up!
They may be young, but they're mighty. Generation Z is protesting across the country and close to home.
Say his name!
It's time to step up. It's time to make sure that y'all know we're not backing down anymore. We're tired of it.
Stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!
Brendan Nichols is a 23-year-old rising senior and football player at West Liberty University. He was at Tuesday's protest in Cleveland.
I'm a big black man, and that is as simple as I can put it. Y'all know there's a target on my back.
Nichols says he's fighting for his dreams of one day being drafted into the NFL, a dream he fears could be silenced.
They could be having a bad day and pull me over and everything could go left.
That this generation feels relatively disenfranchised by the current systems that are in place.
Corey Seamiller is an associate professor at Wright State University in Dayton. She has been studying Generation Z for years. That group includes everyone from fourth graders to 25-year-olds.
And there's a sense of frustration that's been building with this generation, and this idea of working within the systems to try to make changes, like lobbying legislators who are 50 years older than they are, is not working.
Seamiller says these young people, which are part of the most diverse generation ever, are finding ways to work outside of the current systems to seek change.
Not only do they have the fervor and the enthusiasm and the excitement and the persistence and the wherewithal to want to make a difference, they also have the tools and the technology that are going to leverage their ability to do so in ways like we've never seen any generation do.
And although Gen Z is pretty independent, Nichols says they are open to advice from other generations.
We listen more than you think we listen, but not enough. So just talk to us. We're going to take in what we take in, and if it makes sense about what's going on in the world, we're going to listen.
Amanda Van Allen, News 5.